As we do begin with some carnival news, some carnival topics, and a very positive one. Another positive topic coming out of Carnival. The Socadrome this year did much better in previous years. It's actually the third year running, and this year was the most successful year, which means that it's actually growing, which is a fantastic thing. And we have on the line with us this morning to tell us more about the Socadrome and maybe what was done differently, Danielle Jones-Hunte, who is the Marketing and Public Relations Officer with respect to the Socadrome. She basically oversaw everything and has to take a lot of the credit for the success of the Socadrome this year. So let me welcome her to Good Morning TNT. Good morning.
Good morning, and thank you so much for having me and facilitating me by phone. Good morning from beautiful Tobago, actually.
That's where you are.
That's right. That's right.
So you're relaxing now?
Well, I think a well-earned rest, like so many, you know, that's the beauty of Carnival. You give a lot to Trinidad, and you have to give some to Tobago also. So we're sharing some of that joy around.
I know. Now, this year, the Socadrome, the first year actually, let's start with the first year, when it happened. I don't want to say it was disastrous, but the crowd that went there, it just didn't work out. And people were saying, oh, get rid of it. Why do you have it? It doesn't make sense. But you persisted into the second year. It did a little better. And now the third year, it has gotten a lot better. What do you account for that success?
To correct that, from our first year, for the first 3 years, this is actually our fourth time doing the drums that we started in 2014, so you have to count each of the years. But we've averaged about 1,000 people a year each time. The difference between the Socadrome and other venues for Carnival is that people have always seen it as a drop-in venue, so they come in and then leave. So in the past, the first year we opened both stands and didn't quite have a full understanding of the stands, so we had people share between two stands, etc. So we've improved a lot since then. But here we are, our fourth time around doing it officially, and I can tell you it was just incredible to see almost 3,000 people come to the Drome. We had people that arrived there at 8:30 a.m. and stayed all the way till the show finished at 4:30 p.m. And enjoyed, you know, 5 big bands crossing the stage and loads of entertainment, including a performance from David Rudder that brought tears to people's eyes and got them on their feet. The Socadrome is truly, truly a success, and more than just what's in the Drome, success has always been measured for us in terms of the easing up of congestion on the main parade route. You just went through the winners of Trinidad and Tobago Carnival. For a medium band like A2K, if they had to wait for our 12,000 masqueraders that come through the Drome to cross the judging venues, they might not make all of the judging venues, particularly on a Carnival Tuesday, where the route had so many challenges, including rain and lots of needed activity by the police and other officials.
So over 3,000 patrons is what you're saying happened this year. The ultimate carnival experience was the title this year of the Socadrome. What would you say was done differently, if anything at all? Because I know after each event, every time the Socadrome happens, you'd probably have, you know, pull things apart and see what went wrong and what we should do differently. I know this year you had some fantastic artists, but what would you say you did differently this year?
I think one of the headlines in the press yesterday captured it the best. It was marketing and entertainment. We added entertainment to the show, and we were able to do a lot more marketing. We had support from a media partner, and also we invested heavily in making sure that our ads were well promoted on social media. And I can tell you, because I was there all day and spoke to many patrons in the stands, they said they had other family members that wanted to come, and then when the rains came, they decided to stay at home and catch the action live on TV. But I can tell you, for those who were there, to really answer your question, being able to see 3 bands before lunch, along with Calypso Rose right on time at 10:30, MX Prime live at the Socadrome at 11 with the big band humor on stage, traditional characters that sometimes get lost in Trinidad and Tobago Carnival that interacted with the crowd and were taking selfies with the crowd. Truly, truly value for money. And we had people stay with us until the afternoon. And I would like to talk a bit about that, like how come we did not have one of our bands, Tribe, come to the Socadrome this year which is one of the improvements that we really want to make happen for next year. But every person, even though they did not get to see Tribe, left that Drome feeling that this was one of the best things that happened to them, and it wasn't about the free doubles or the free snow cone that the crowd got. It was about the entertainment, about seeing Baron live, seeing Calypso Rose, and of course the Chutney Soca Monarchs, both of them, and the junior Soca and junior Calypso Monarch. Were a really great show and completely free, something free and family friendly in the carnival.
And the good thing about it too, because would you say there was an older crowd and more children who were able to actually be seated, and parking was definitely an asset?
Yes, I would say we had a good mix. If you were to average out the age of guests, it might get you right in the middle at maybe about 40, because you had from the very young, children as young as a year and 2 years old, all the way to retirees, 60, 70, 75 years old. Quite a few tourists. In the press yesterday, interviews from people from Sweden, Canada, and the U.S. Our Extempo competition had a competitor from Canada. So when I say that we have earned our space in Trinidad and Tobago Carnival, I mean that because it's not just attracting the old and the young. It's attracting people that, yes, used to play mass, people that love Calypso, but also the tourists that want to get a bit of everything in Trinidad and Tobago Carnival. But if I can, Rhea, there was a question about why Tribe did not make it to the Soca Drome yesterday afternoon. I don't know if the news media picked it up, but a great initiative by the police and NCC was making sure that licensing officers and police officers were on the road in full force this year along the parade route, checking to make sure that all of the many vehicles that are on the road are fully compliant with the laws and all have their licenses. The trucks that the bands use, this is just one of the many ways that we pump millions into small, medium, and large businesses in Trinidad and Tobago. All of these trucks are leased by the bands. So what we would love to see is be able to work more with officials to get these inspections done earlier in the day, because as they happen haphazardly throughout the day, you found many of our bands, not just our 5, but also others along the route, had to pause for sometimes an hour to make sure that these inspections were done and completed. And we want to participate and be fully cooperative, but that impacts everybody, people going to judging points, people coming to the Socadrome, and people watching along the route, because it can look like something was wrong when it's not. This is what's needed. We need to make sure things are done correctly. But we'd love to work with officials to see that improvement for along the route, to make sure that these inspections can be done as thoroughly as possible early in the morning, and maybe with just some random checks throughout the day. So that's actually why Tribe didn't make it to the Socadrome. We try not to break any laws, and as we participated in these stops, it kept us back about an hour for all of our bands on Carnival Tuesday.
I know that we heard reports that they were kept back, but no real reason given as to know what held them back, really. So I thank you very much for clearing that up as to why they actually didn't make it to the Socadrome. I know it would have been one of those bands that definitely people would have wanted to see, but we must abide by the laws of Trinidad and Tobago. Do you think,
That's
though?
Right. And then we also, of course, kept our commitment to the NCC, because, just as your channel carries the Savannah live, people do want to see the big band Tribe. This is arguably the biggest band in Trinidad and Tobago Carnival. So we kept our commitment to Mr. De Silva and did go to the Queen's Park Savannah with Tribe. But to do the Savannah, Albert Avenue, downtown, and the Socadrome, we have the logistics to make it happen. But we also have to, cooperate with all the laws of Trinidad and Tobago. So the extra stops that we got, not just Tribe, but also Humor, Heart, Bliss, did keep all of us back a bit, and ended up with us missing the Socadrome. Things happen every year, but that's why, as you said, we will pull everything apart and find a way to improve. So we'd love to work with the NCC and licensing officers to make that a little better and smoother for everybody who participates in Carnival.
Do you think that this can ever become a judging venue, and would you want it to become a judging venue, a judging point?
What growth for us at the Socadrome, which has been a private initiative supported by the NCC, police, fire officials, since inception, growth at the Socadrome really is growth for culture in Trinidad and Tobago. So with the right support, whether it's from the NCC, Ministry of Tourism, we can really see the Socadrome becoming, as we continue to see, a great option in mass, whether that means a judging venue, whether that means a judging venue for something specific. maybe traditional masks, maybe for individual characters who, as you know, for Carnival Tuesday, which is the only time the Drome is open, the Queen's Park Savannah, sometimes there can be quite a bit of congestion. We can take some of that congestion away, but also allow the people that come through the Socadrome to have an opportunity to win prizes or to be showcased. For example, you have bands like the medium band and the K2K, which is a beautiful band. I have seen them. I really appreciate the Norman Sisters. But the amount of media coverage that band gets in terms of photographs in the press and in social media is very different to a band like Bliss or Humor or even the Lost Tribe, really, because a lot of the media does congregate around our bands, and they do love the Socadrome because of some of the opportunities that we present in our venues. So there's lots of opportunities for growth. We are open to all conversations and options, and already sponsors are approaching us for 2018, and we would love to close out some of those conversations early because a bigger and better Socadrome for 2018 will happen.
Now, something else, and a final question that I want to ask. There was something new that the NCC did this year that they wanted to do last year but couldn't, but it did come off this year with the traditional carnival characters crossing the Savannah stage between 9 a.m. and 1 p.m. on, I think it was Carnival Monday it was.
Monday,
and
yes.
then, the larger bands crossed. Do you think that this can also be an option for the Socadrome, maybe a shorter period of time, but have a similar event taking place there as well before the large bands and before the entertainment?
I think that we've always had space for traditional characters.
But a specific time, because I know you did this year, but a specific time set aside or something like that.
So what we have done from the very first year is had our traditional characters in the morning and throughout the day, which was the improvement this year in having them go into the stand. I think there is space in the Socadrome for more traditional masks, potentially for competition. I can say for that Carnival Monday decision by the NCC, I know for some of the bands that resulted in them not being able to go to the Queen's Park Savannah on Carnival Monday. So for every addition in the mass, there is a subtraction. But this is why the Socadrome is a great option for additions in Trinidad and Tobago Carnival. So all of our directors and myself, we remain open to conversations with the NCC, with officials, with the TDC, TITCO, Ministry of Tourism. We have a great venue always leased to us from the Ministry of Sport, and we thank them for their support. But what really would make Carnival better for all stakeholders is conversations early to plan for the next year, 2 years, 3 years. So whether that means expanding judging venues, expanding the routes, improving, working with the licensing officers or those procedures, we are open to it. We love to start. We are open for business at the Socadrome from today, ready to have conversations all through 2018, all the way to 2020, as much as people would like to.
Oh gosh, and we're looking forward to 2018. Danielle Jones-Hunte, thank you so much for taking the time. I know you're vacationing, you're relaxing after the hectic everything. Good luck to you in 2018, and thank you once again for speaking with us here on Good Morning Trinidad and Tobago.